Okay, is the screen visible? Yes, students, is the screen and my voice audible to you all? Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the
Okay, so
screen is also
Jitesh,
visible.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Jitesh, you can start now.
Okay, ma'am. Gautama Buddha, 563 BC to 483 BC. Began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. Gautama in northern India. At 12, he was sent away from schooling in the Hindu sacred sculptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitted, befitted royalty. At about the age of 25, the prince, here, heretofore healed from the suffering of the world, while out hunting, changed upon a sick man, then an old man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrow he had witnessed. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree where he viewed to see. Ma'am, can you please scroll down?
Yeah, yeah, just a minute. Yeah, continue.
Until enlightenment came. Enlightened after 7 days, he renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understanding. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Banaras, most holy of the dipping place on the river Ganga. That sermon has been preserved and is given here. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one scrubbing kind of suffering,
Inscrutable, inscrutable.
inscrutable kind of suffering. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jitesh. I'll just explain till here.
अरे
So
यार
first of
इसमें
all, yes, Jitesh, now you can please mute. Okay, so now first is the introduction. As we already said, that he was actually a prince who was not exposed to the harsh realities of life, and he was actually married, having a baby. That is a baby boy, and then he was living, such kind of a life, enjoying all the. He actually went for hunting, and then he came across a sick person, which he had never, come across in his life, as well as an aged or an old man, and then a funeral procession, and then finally a monk. So, first of all, what do you mean by monk? Who is a monk?
A sage.
Correct. A sage, okay, like in Hindi, we call them as sadhu, who are actually preaching us with the lessons of life. But this monk was begging for alms. Usually, monks are supposed to live that kind of a life. They cannot, work for, getting money. So they need to, beg for the dreams and the life, right? And these sites so move him. Okay, so Anmol, can you guess the meaning of the word move him? What is to move someone? Move him. Obviously, it was Gautam Buddha who was moved. So what do you mean by that?
Ma'am, can you repeat? I didn't get the question.
Yeah, this word you can see these sites. So move him. What's the meaning of move him? Ritesh,
Touched him?
yes, very good. Touched him, and then it just touched him to the deep, okay, in his heart, and he was actually feeling really sad, okay, that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment. So from this is actually not explained in the lesson that he actually understood the words like enlightenment or awakening from the monk himself. Okay, so monk actually introduced the words enlightened and being awakened right from within. So he understood that it is not possible for him to understand the reality of the words like enlightenment or being awakened by remaining confined in the palace. So he at once decided that he is going to renounce, that is, he is going to leave all the pleasures of the palace. And not just that, he also decided that he is going to leave his family. Right? He just, had no attachment left because he wanted to understand how could, we could find the solution to the problem. So which were the problems? The problem was that, how could people not feel sick? Then how could old age be avoided? And at the same time, how could we avoid death? So these were the problems that he wanted these solutions for. So what he decided, he'll just go out and then he wandered here and there. And then finally, he just, got to know from his inner voice that he actually should sit in contemplation, or rather, he has to sit and meditate. And he decided to sit under a peepal tree. Where he go? Both means he took a resolve or he took a promise that he will stay unless and until he's enlightened. So, students, I want you to guess in your own words what is the meaning of enlightenment, and I want the answer from all of you. Whatever meaning you have, so just share. So first, we can start with the Anmol. So, Anmol, what is the meaning of enlightenment?
Having the knowledge that this is what I think it means. Having the knowledge of certain aspects of life or certain subjects.
Perfect. Okay. Anmol, you can try in your own words, and it's not that the answer has to be correct. Whatever is your understanding, you just share. Because in English, we have to guess. It's not necessary we have to buy heart the meaning, right? So just let me know what have you understood from the word enlightenment.
Yeah. The knowledge or the means the accurate knowledge of something.
Okay. And Jitesh, what is your viewpoint about enlightenment? Yes, Jitesh. Is my voice audible to you? Or suddenly the connection was gone because I've asked question. Or Jitesh, you have become enlightened, but you don't want. Yes, Jitesh, have you become an enlightened person? Yes. Okay, so students, as you have given your answers, which are correct. Okay, so Jitesh, Anmol states that it is the accurate knowledge, and Priya states that it's basically the knowledge, right? So basically, enlightened is coming from the word light, right? So when you experience life, what you don't experience, can you tell me? If you're experiencing life, what are you not experiencing?
Darkness.
Yes,
Darkness.
yeah, perfect. So basically, when we say you are enlightened, it means that darkness is removed. So we are not talking about the physical darkness, like enlightenment turning on the tube light, but actually it is the removal of ignorance from our mind. So we know that why we sit in contemplation because he was not aware of the problem. I mean the solution to the problems like death, then disease and death, and then finally the old age, right? So these meditation, he got the answers. So basically, the darkness or the ignorance is removed, and he got the light, or rather, he got the solution, and that is why he became enlightened. Now, he did not got the answers by studying books. He did not got the answers by discussing with some elderly monks or religious or spiritual leaders, but he got the answers from within. Okay, that is from his inner voice. That is why we call it as enlightenment. And usually it happens that when you meditate, when you're sitting by yourself in silence, um, okay, for a few minutes, whether you're closing your eyes or not, that's okay. But basically, when you meditate, you actually could, get the solution to whatever problems that you are facing, right? So then you become definitely an enlightened person on your own, but then it takes time, right? So that's what we need to be patient about. So he became enlightened. Basically, he got the solution. So enlightened, after 7 days, he renamed the tree the Bodhi tree. So because he got his enlightenment by sitting under a tree, okay, and that is actually called as Bodhisattva. So that's why he refers this tree as the Bodhi tree or the tree of wisdom. So and begin to teach and to share his new understanding. And then he understood that just keeping the knowledge okay to himself is not enough. And not just for him, for every one of us. It is best to share the knowledge. So he started teaching and sharing his new understandings. At that point, he became to be known as Buddha. Buddha is the awakened or the enlightened. So basically, when a person is enlightened okay, or awakened, we call that person to be a Buddha. Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benares, and that's what we are going to study. So that sermon has been preserved and is given here. It reflects Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. So, students, I want you to guess the meaning of the word inscrutable. Yes, students. What do you mean by inscrutable?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Can you repeat the meaning of what?
Yeah, yeah. Can you see this word inscrutable over here? What is the meaning of the word inscrutable?
I actually don't know the meaning of this word, ma'am.
Okay, and what about Jitesh?
Ma'am, the others are not here. It's just me.
Okay, okay, good, they have left. Okay, so just take down the meaning. It is interpretation, okay, or something which is impossible to understand or interpret. Inscrutable means impossible to understand or interpret. So we'll just see the sermon. Kissa Gautami had an only son and he died. In her grief, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine, and the people said she had lost her senses. The boy is dead. Did you understand till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is, the sermon which was explained by Gautam Buddha. Okay, so he was actually referring to Kissa Gautami, and this lady who was actually, I suppose it's a lady only that he was referring to. So, uh, yeah, and he had actually died. And then, obviously, when a son or any baby, not the son, dies, the mother is actually in deep shock. So this mother was in such a deep shock that she was not able to accept this reality that her son has died. So she was going to all the neighbors and asking them for medicine. And then the people say that she lost her senses. Okay, that she's not ready to understand that her son has died, and she's unnecessarily asking for medicine. At length, Isma Gautami met a man who replied to her request. I cannot give thee medicine for thy child, but I know a physician who can. So there was one man of understanding who actually told her that I cannot give the medicine. The in the sense use the medicine, die in your time, but I know a physician who can. So this person actually told her that he could actually guide her to a physician. And the girl said, "Please tell me, sir, who is it?" And the man replied, "Is my voice clear?"
Ma'am, it is breaking in between. Sometimes it is clear, but then it breaks in between.
Okay, now is it clear?
Now it is clear, but while you were speaking, like just a few seconds back, I couldn't hear you and I couldn't pick up on your words.
Okay. All right. So now we'll just see. So here, go to Sakya Muni the Buddha. So this person guided her to go to Buddha. So Kissa got me repaired to Buddha and cried, "Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my body." So this lady was so desperate to see her child alive that she actually prayed before Gautama, representing Buddha, that she wanted some medicine until that would cure her body. So Buddha answered her, "I want a handful of mustard seed." And when the procure it, the Buddha added the mustard seed must be
Excuse me,
taken
ma'am.
from. Yes,
Your voice is
yes,
breaking again.
okay. I'll just Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yeah. Okay, so now here Buddha told her that I want a handful of mustard seed. Okay, so this girl, this lady was actually quite happy and she was about to procure it. Procure means she was about to arrange it. But then Buddha added, the mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent, or friend. So this was, definitely a thought-provoking thing for her. So she will have to procure the mustard seed from someone's house where no death has happened. Let it be of a child or a husband or a parent or a friend. Poor Kissa Gautami now went from house to house, and the people pitied her and said, "Here is mustard seed, take it." But when she asked, "Did a son or a daughter, a father or mother die in your family?" they answered her, "Alas." Okay, they answered her, "Alas, the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief." And there was no house, but some beloved one had died in it. So here she was able to definitely procure the mustard seed. But then when she asked that if someone dead in your family, whether a son or a daughter or a parent, so people were actually facing a lot of grief. So they told her that, do not even remind us, for this deepest grief. And finally, there was actually no house, okay, of such kind where no one had actually died. So Kisa Gautami became very Kisa Gautami became weary and hopeless and sat down at the wayside, watching the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished again. So at last, the darkness of the night reigned everywhere. So here, what happened is she became weary and hopeless. So Andrea, what do you mean by weary?
Sad, tired.
Weary is exhausted.
Yeah, I told that later. Sad or tired, something like that.
Yeah, it's exhausted. And she was actually sitting down at the wayside and she was just watching the lights of the city. And they were flickering up and were extinguished again, right? extinguishes, they just blow off, and then as the darkness and reigned in the sense it's discovered everywhere. And she considered the fate of men that their lives flicker up and are extinguished again. Flicker up in the sense, we take birth and then we are actually died. So that's what flicker up means, to live, and extinguish means to die. So this is the message that she got by watching the light and by, visiting every house. And she thought to herself, how selfish am I in my grief? Death is common to all, yet in this valley of desolation, there is path that leads him to immortality who has surrendered all selfishness. So, Andrea, I want you to just guess the meaning of this, that there is a path that leads him to immortality who has surrendered all selfishness. Just guess.
Here I think what it means is like death is 1 minute. I know what this means, but I can't get who him refers to. Is it
Okay.
Gautama Buddha?
So basically, immortality means what?
That person never dies.
Perfect. Yeah.
Immortal.
She understood that actually she was so aggrieved that she had become selfish. She actually forgotten for the time being that death is common for everyone. So she thought that she is actually selfish, that she wanted to make her son alive because in every family, some or the other person has actually died or they have experienced death. But then she also realized that in this valley of desolation. So, Andrea, now you guess the meaning of valley of desolation. Yes, can you guess what is this valley of desolation?
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute.
Yeah, that's what you can try on your own words.
Desolation means, I think, complete emptiness, like being hollow.
Perfect.
So, a valley of people being hollow inside.
Correct. So basically, desolation, as you said, emptiness. So valley means this is exaggerated statement. That means some people are, are feeling emptiness to its height. So that's why this word is referred as the valley of desolation. That means some people have so agreed with the death of their loved ones that they are actually experiencing the valley of desolation, that complete emptiness in their life, right? But then apart, because we feel aggrieved because we feel attachment to the body. But then here she's understanding that there is actually a path that leads to immortality. So immortality means when people don't die. She's actually referring to the soul. So you might be aware that death happens of the body, but then the soul, which is residing in our bodies, that actually never dies. It is something which is immortal. So she is actually maybe getting enlightenment that it is the soul which is immortal. Okay, so now you read from here the Buddha said.
Yes, ma'am. The Buddha said the life of mortals in this world is troubled and brief and combined with pain, for there
Yeah.
for there is not any means by which those that have been born can avoid dying. After reaching old age, there is death. Of such a nature are living beings. As ripe fruits are early in danger of falling, so mortals, when born, are always in danger of death. As all earthen vessels made by the potter end in being broken, so is the life of mortals, both young and adult. Both those who are fools and teacher, can you scroll a bit more? Yeah. And
Yeah.
those who are wise and those who are wise all fall into the power of death. All are subject to death. Of those
Okay.
who, oh,
Okay. That
okay.
I'll just explain to Leah. Okay. Thank you. So we'll just continue. So here, Buddha was actually explaining to this Kisa Gautami that life of mortals. Mortals means we all are mortals. We are going to die. It's troubled. So it's not just we are going to die, but when we are living also, at that time also we have to face lot of troubles. That is the reality of life, and brief and combined with pain. So here I suppose it's not brief. I suppose it should be grief. Okay,
Yeah,
brief
even
over
I
here.
thought that.
No, no, it is correct actually. Brief is short over
Short?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So life is actually short. That means we are not going to live here for 200 or 300 years. And on top of that, whatever short life we are living, it is actually combined with pain. So you might have actually seen that, in every household, some or the other problem is there, financial problem. In case if people are financially well off, they have some other problems with the relatives. And if everything is fine, they have problem with their own body. Some are suffering from diabetes, some are suffering from some other disease, right? So basically, we all have lots of problems. And then for there is not any means by which those that have been born can avoid dying. So this was the reality which was explained by Buddha, that when we actually are alive, okay, it's a real reality that we need to accept. We are going to die someday, and then obviously after reaching old age, the death is going to happen. And of such a nature are living beings. So this is the nature of living being, to be born and then to die. As the ripe fruits are early in danger of falling, so mortals when born are always in the danger of death. So we all basically have this danger. You may use the word danger or you may use the word reality, that we are definitely going to die. And here he was actually giving the example like how all earthen vessels made by potter end in being broken. We know that the vessels which are made up of mud, okay, one or the other day, we are actually going to, handle them in such a way that they may be, fallen, and then, they will just be damaged, right? So our life is being compared to the earthen vessels. So both young and adults, okay, both those who are fools and those who are wise. So it's not that only fools will die or only wise would die. So death is something which is, a reality for everyone, whether it's a young or an adult, or which is a fool or whoever is wise, all fall into the power of death and all are subject to death. This was something, the message which was, conveyed by Gautam Buddha to this Kisa Gautami. Oh, continue now, Andrea.
Yes, ma'am. Of those who overcome by death depart from life. A father cannot save his son, nor kinsmen their relations. Mark, while relatives are looking on and lamenting deeply, one by one, mortals are carried off, like an ox that is led to the slaughter. So the world is afflicted with death and decay. Therefore, the wise do not grieve, knowing the terms of the world. Ma'am,
Okay,
should I
so
continue?
here, yeah, he was just giving the message that those who overcome by death, okay, depart from life. Okay, that means who overcome by death. In the sense, we understand. Okay, the moment you understand, okay, and you are not feeling aggrieved, so basically you have overcome death. And he was giving example that nobody can save anyone, whether it's a father, he cannot save his son, no kinsmen and the relations. So basically you may be attached to your relatives, but then they cannot save you. And then Mark, while relatives are looking on and lamenting deeply, so even our relatives may be close with us, okay, they may definitely feel lot of, aggrieved, or they may lament, okay, when the mortals are carried off in the sense when people die, like an ox that is led to slaughter. So he's again giving a very harsh example, like when an ox, okay, that's a creature which is being led, means carried to the slaughter. In the same way, mortals are carried. So the world is afflicted with death and decay. So Andrea, what is afflicted? Meaning is mentioned here.
Affected.
Yeah. So basically, afflicted is affected by suffering, disease, or pain. That's what he want to give the message, and therefore the wise do not grieve. The only difference between wise and fools is that fools would cry, but then wise would not cry because they know the terms and conditions of the world. Okay, yeah, continue now.
Yes, ma'am. Not from weeping nor from grieving will anyone obtain peace of mind. On the contrary, his pain will be the greater and his body will suffer. He will make himself sick and pain, yet the dead are not saved by his lamentation. He who seeks peace should draw out the arrow of lamentation and complain and grief. He who has drawn out the arrow and has become composed will obtain peace of mind. He who has overcome all sorrow will become free from sorrow and be blessed.
Okay, so here the final things which were explained by Gautama were not from weeping nor from grieving. Will anyone obtain peace of mind? Basically, we need to be composed. Like we should not feel sad. Okay, when a loved one or a close family member departs. Otherwise, we will lose our peace of mind, right? Or the balance of mind. We would not be a sound person. Sound person in the sense who is, properly taking decisions. We would become like, fool or a mad person. So his pain will be the greater. His pain in the sense he's talking about a person who is a fool who actually grieves or cries. He or she has not understood the reality. So that person is going to actually experience more problem. And because of experiencing more pain, first of all, he or she would not get peace of mind. Secondly, the body would suffer. How the body would suffer? The body would become sick and at the same time pale. It would be obvious from the face of the person that the person is not feeling good. Yet the dead are not saved by his lamentation. And whatever amount you can cry or lament, your crying will not save the going person, right? And then one who seeks in the sense those who want peace should draw out the arrow of lamentation. So now here he is giving these qualities to be like arrows: lamentation, complaining, or grieving. These qualities are referred as arrows. So we need to basically take these arrows out in case if we want peace in our lives. He who has drawn out the arrow and has become composed. So basically, if you see those wise people, okay, whatever tragedies they may suffer, they will remain composed. They will neither be excited when something extraordinary happy things happen upon us, and they will not, lose their state of mind if they experience extreme tragedies in their life. So basically, they will acquire peace of mind. And he who has overcome all sorrow will become free from sorrow. So the only solution to become free from sorrow is that, you need to overcome the sorrow. Basically, it's basically the understanding that we have to accept sorrow will actually make us free from the sorrow, and then we'll finally be blessed. So this was the solution that actually he got when he was contemplating, and the same thing he was sharing with the other people. Okay. All right, Andrea.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we are done with this. And in case if you have any queries, you can ask me on the WhatsApp. So we'll
Okay,
just
ma'am.
stop. The time is also up. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay. Bye bye. You too. Bye bye.